I wanted to share with you something that challenged me yesterday morning when I was listening to the radio. I generally have Radio 2 on in the background here, and yesterday on Thought for the Day on Radio 2 I was kind of challenged by the things that the guy said. Now, he was a rural dean somewhere. I only half heard it, so I'm not sure exactly where he was or what he was doing, but he was talking about, in the past, he'd been involved in prison ministry. And he talked about one particular experience of going into a prison, and a young man that he was working with showed him a picture that he'd drawn, and the picture was of a pair of shoes behind bars, and the young man either said to him or had written on the picture something about "try standing in my shoes." In response to this particular minister wrote to the governor of the prison and asked if he could spend a week living in this prison as an inmate, and a high security prison, and the governor said yes. So this minister went and he spent a week living as an inmate in a high security prison. In order to help him relate to those that he was trying to work with, he then experienced something of what their life was like. He didn't go and be a criminal or anything like that, but he got a taster of what it was like. And it challenged me, because I think some youth workers today try to be like the young people, and I think that's an issue that many of us face sometimes. We try to be like young people, or we try to be like the people we're with, so that they like us and so that we fit in, but that so often leads to burnout. So often it leads to failure, because young people see through that if that's not who we really are, and also because we're just trying so hard to be something that we're not, and it doesn't work. But I was challenged because it gave us the principle of actually finding out something more of what it was like to be that person. I remember a few months ago reading on Marco from Youth Specialities blog about someone he knew who'd followed one of the young people from their youth group through school for a week, spent a week shadowing them and doing their lessons and the things that they did, so that he got a greater understanding of what it was like to be that young person. It's a long while for many of us since we were at school and since we were going through the things that young people we are now working with, since we went through them, and things have changed, things are different. And I just think that sometimes we need to be challenged, actually, not to keep on going with the things that we know and the things that we remember, but actually to think a bit more about what it's like. Maybe it could be right for us to go and spend a day in the school with some of our young people or something like that. I don't know, just a challenge. And I think, you know, it would be so great that we can actually take part and be something and experience something of what their life is like, not to try and be like them, not to mimic them. Jesus never tried to mimic the people that he was working with, but he spent time and he knew what their life was like, and he could talk to them. He talked to fishermen about fishing, he talked to tax collectors about money, he talked to people about the things that were relevant to them because he knew about them. And maybe we need to take some more time sometimes just to find out more about what it's like to be a young person in our world today.